And you will pledge your allegiance to me or suffer for it. Understand that, you bearded fool?
As TV slowly ventures further into big-budget productions, it's only natural that a few fall flat. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most expensive TV flops ever.
Play it tough, but play it safe, and let's be careful out there.
If you like this video, then you'll love the original content over at our sister channel, Ms. Mojo, your source for all things pop culture, celebrity, and entertainment. For this list, we're discussing some of the biggest flops in television history and ranking them based on the severity of their failures. Now, we're not saying these shows are bad. In fact, many of them are quite good. We're only stating that they failed to find a mainstream audience and were swiftly canceled, losing their studios a ton of money in the process. Number 10. Kings. Kings was set to be NBC's great drama. It was based on a biblical story. It starred the incredible Ian McShane, fresh off his revolutionary performance as Al Swearingen on Deadwood, and the studio reportedly put up a whopping $10 million for its pilot. The subsequent episodes weren't much cheaper, most of them coming in with a $4 million bill. Judging by those numbers, we can assume that the 13 episodes of Kings, including its two-part pilot, cost well over $50 million to produce. However, the show received middling reviews, and viewers quickly dropped off after the first couple of episodes, resulting in King's swift cancellation.
Don't go! Stop, Roll! Keep your hands up!
Talk about a short reign.
It's treason, what you've done.
Number 9. Battlestar Galactica. Before getting a new and enduring lease on life in the 2000s, the Battlestar Galactica franchise kicked off with a TV series in the late 1970s that rode the sci-fi popularity wave of the first Star Wars film.
Right here, you creeps.
And like most convincing science fiction, it wasn't cheap to produce. Each episode cost about $1 million to produce, or just under $4 million in today's dollars. And while Battlestar Galactica initially saw success, it quickly sunk in the ratings when CBS moved its hit show All in the Family to the same time slot. ABC canceled the show after one season, leading to protests, and unfortunately, the suicide of one fan.
Oh, frack.
Number 8. Cop Rock.
Mom always told me, be nice to strangers.
Cop shows were big business in the 80s and 90s. Series like Hill Street Blues and NYPD Blue both garnered critical acclaim and devoted audiences. Cop Rock, a musical cop drama, yep, you heard that right, unfortunately didn't fare as well. It's often considered one of the worst dramas of all time, and it unsurprisingly didn't garner much of an audience.
What kind of world do we live in? What kind of world? I don't know.
Each episode cost almost $2 million to produce, or just under $4 million today. But despite its lavish production values, its bizarre concept was just too much to handle. ABC canceled the show after just 11 episodes, and Cop Rock was deemed one of the biggest TV failures of the decade. Number 7. The Getdown. Sorry, Netflix, they can't all be winners. The Getdown was a massive production from Baz Luhrmann, the artistic visionary behind gorgeous productions like Romeo and Juliet, Moulin Rouge, and The Great Gatsby. Netflix originally planned for the show to cost $11 million per episode, or about $120 million for the season. But the budget ended up ballooning as high as $16 million an episode. The final budget was estimated to be somewhere between $180 and $200 million, about as much as a Marvel production. Unfortunately, the gamble didn't pay off, and Netflix was forced to cancel the show after one season due to its low viewership and exorbitant costs. Number 6. Viva Laughlin. Viva Laughlin was an ambitious project from CBS.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Hugh Jackman starred and served as executive producer, and the pilot episode alone cost nearly $7 million to produce. However, the show was absolutely roasted by critics, with one writer from the New York Times questioning whether it could possibly be a contender for the worst show of all time.
That's rough.
The viewers seemed to agree, as the show was quickly canceled. And we mean quickly. The show received the axe after just 2 episodes, leaving 5 produced episodes unaired. Now that's what we call a bomb.
Don't ever call me again.
Number 5. Bionic Woman. The Bionic Woman was a hit in the 70s, so naturally it was bound to get the remake treatment. The reboot debuted on NBC in 2007, but the critics absolutely despised it. And despite respectable viewership numbers, the writer's strike of 2007 put an end to the show's production after just 8 episodes. This spelled disaster for NBC, as each episode of the show reportedly cost around $6 million to produce, and the network spent $15 million on marketing. Judging by those numbers, NBC spent around $60 million on a show that was canceled after just 8 episodes. Not exactly a good return on investment.
Do you really have X-ray vision?
Yeah, I do.
Number 4. Camelot. Camelot was another Starz attempt at a sword and sandal drama after Spartacus proved to be a big hit. Spartacus, this was not.
Oh, shut up. Please, just shut up.
The show was run by Torchwood and the Tudors alums Chris Chibnall and Michael Hurst respectively, and it starred Joseph Fiennes and Ava Green. If you think this sounds expensive, it was. Each episode cost around $7 million to produce, and with 10 aired episodes, it's assumed that Starz pumped about $70 million into Camelot.
Only here when they find him. He won't live to be king.
However, the show was criticized for being dull and silly, and despite the premiere being the highest-rated pilot in Starz history, it was canceled after 10 episodes due to scheduling conflicts with the cast.
What do we do now?
Number 3. Supertrain. Supertrain is known for being one of the biggest laughs in television history, and unfortunately, it wasn't a comedy.
Engine room, Supertrain is ready to depart.
It's often ranked in worst TV show lists, and it was a massive commercial failure, the likes of which had never yet been seen.
Yeah, you're sure about that, huh?
While exact numbers are hard to come by, Supertrain is considered the most expensive American show ever produced at the time, and NBC put a massive amount of money behind its marketing. However, the show's poor quality resulted in low viewership, and it was canceled after just 3 months and 9 episodes. NBC wasn't able to recover its enormous losses, and the network nearly went bankrupt.
I thought we were given assurances that that window was indestructible.
Number 2. Terra Nova. Science fiction's always tricky to produce. It costs a lot of money to make convincingly, and many sci-fi shows end up with a niche audience at best. Terra Nova received great initial reviews, with many critics praising its ambition and dazzling special effects.
I hate Carnotaurus.
While the quality tended to vary, it was a relatively solid season of television. However, these ambitions came with a price. The pilot ended up costing the network around $14 million, with each subsequent episode tallying around $4 million. And while the show averaged around 7 million viewers an episode, this wasn't enough for Fox, who ended the series after just 13 episodes.
It's me, Sky.
Sky. All right, get in.
Number 1. Marco Polo. Marco Polo served as a huge shock to Netflix subscribers. The network was known for its relatively small-scale dramas, including House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, yet here was a massive production on par with HBO. In fact, Netflix picked up the series for $90 million, making it the world's second most expensive show at the time, behind Game of Thrones.
You shall be tutored in the Mongolian ways of the horse.
However, the show received scathing reviews and failed to catch on, despite Netflix's admirable attempts to revitalize it. They canceled the show after just 2 seasons, making it one of Netflix's and TV's biggest bombs, to the estimated tune of a $200 million loss.
Let him go, Latin. Let him go.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.